All right, everyone. Thank you all for joining me today. I am truly excited about bringing you guys this video. This is one of those videos that really excites me. And I, as a Nigerian, I'm truly excited today. And I think that many Nigerians, if not most, should be really excited about the exit of Shell from Nigeria. Because this is the beginning of our economic decolonization. This is also the beginning of Nigerians taking back their economy, their country, as well as also making sure that they are no longer under the thumbs of these Western companies. And so Shell has announced recently that they are leaving Nigeria. They're selling their onshore oil and gas company to a Nigerian-owned company known as Renaissance, which is a consortium of 5 companies, 4 of which are locally based in Nigeria. They're selling it for $2.4 billion, of which $1.3 billion will be paid initially upfront, and then a $1.1 billion remaining will be paid later on. And this is a great news, really, really great. Shell has been in Nigeria for over 90 years. They came in 1930. And ever since Nigeria discovered oil in the 1950s, Shell has been nothing but exploiting Nigeria for its gain, causing a lot of humanitarian issues of which they were sued several times in Nigeria, displacing indigenous people of Nigeria, causing spills and oil spills, pollution, environmental disaster. This company was truly a disaster for Nigeria's economy. This British company was truly a disaster. And to now find that they're leaving Nigeria, they're leaving the country, it's a great thing. It's an amazing, amazing thing for Nigerians and the economy of Nigeria. Because what this says is that Shell realizes now that their grip and their position in that country is no longer as strong as they had it 90 years prior. Because it's a new player in town. Understand they're not just leaving Nigeria because, for the reasons that you hear in the Western media. Because of all the, issues in Nigeria, instability in Nigeria. That's what you hear in the Western media. But no, the reason why they're leaving is because it's a new player in town, Dangote refinery. Dangote refinery is a game changer for Nigeria, a huge game changer. Because understand that all of the so-called reasons that the Western media is putting out there regarding this story is to paint Shell as in such a benevolence manner, to create a situation like they normally do, make Nigeria look like, an unstable place, unfit for business. But they've been there for 90 years. What are they complaining about now that they haven't had 90 plus years that they've been in Nigeria? The security issues, the oil spillage, theft. Is that what they're complaining about? They've been having that, and they've stayed in that country because they've been looting that country for over 90 years. Over 90 years. Causing a whole bunch of environmental issues of which they've been sued. Let me give you some of the suits that they've had over the years, which I think plays into one of the reasons they're leaving is because of Dangote. Dangote's refinery is a game changer. And so Shell Company knows that they can't compete with this huge refinery, Africa's largest refinery, which is projected to produce 650,000 barrels of crude oil every day, against Shell's 500,000 every day. So that's a game changer. And then with Dangote's refinery, they are also estimated to even go up as 1 million barrel in the future. So they know they can't compete. That's why they're leaving. And on top of the fact that they have all these lawsuits that have been sued, and many are coming on the way. So here are the ones that they've had over the years, right? They had one in 2008, which was a significant case. They were sued by 4 Nigerian farmers and friends of the earth, Netherlands, against Shell in the Dutch court. And they were found liable, and they had to pay compensation for that. In 2012, and that was in 2008, in 2012, the Bodu community in Nigeria also filed a lawsuit against Shell in the UK court. They finally settled for that one they settled for $83 million. They were initially trying to settle for 53, and these people said no, $83 million. Drop in the bucket. That was in 2012. In 2016, the Ogele and Bile community filed a lawsuit against them, which went all the way to the Supreme Court in the UK. And many other lawsuits that have been filed against this British company for their environmental violation and destruction of the earth, displacing the communities, the local communities in Nigeria, spilling oil. They don't care. They don't care. This is what they do when they come to our country. But no, in their country, they adhere to environmental laws. In their country, they adhere to environmental clean energy, making sure that they're not polluting the environment, but they don't care. Shell has been a huge problem for Nigeria for over 90 years, and now they're leaving. Because there's a new player in town that is now so huge, they know they can't compete. They can't compete against Dangote's oil. So they're selling their Shell Petroleum Development Company of Nigerian Limited, the SPDC version of their company, for the $2.4 billion. I am so excited that they're out of there. This is a game changer. We got a lot to talk about. We're gonna have a great conversation today. But before I even go into that, I want you to listen to this short clip. And I want you to see how Shell devastated Nigeria's and these local communities, land, spilling oil all over the place and causing such an environmental nuisance and disaster. Take a look at this clip, and I'll be right back.
Shell has agreed to sell its onshore oil and gas business in Nigeria for up to $2.4 billion after nearly a century of operations. The British energy major said on Tuesday that it would sell the Shell Petroleum Development Corporation of Nigeria Limited to Renaissance, a consortium of 5 mostly local companies. The deal is made up of an initial consideration of $1.3 billion, with the buyers making an additional payment of up to $1.1 billion at completion. But it has for years struggled with hundreds of oil spills at its onshore operations as a result of theft, sabotage, and operational issues. That's led to costly repairs and high-profile lawsuits. Shell said Renaissance will take over responsibility for dealing with spills, theft, and sabotage. However, Nemo Bassi, executive director of Nigerian advocacy group Health of Mother Earth Foundation, said that Shell must own up to its responsibility. That, he said, means full payment for the remediation and restoration of the polluted areas, as well as reparations to the host communities, adding they cannot walk away from the virtually irreparable harm they have caused.
So that is a very disturbing thing that we as Nigeria have had to deal with. And a lot of people, especially in the Niger Delta area, they've had to deal with over the years at the hands of this horrible company. Horrible company. And I'm glad they're out of there. I'm glad they're leaving, because it's about time that Nigerians need to take back their economy. And Nigerians are really moving into the right direction. This is a great thing. This is a great thing for Nigeria to have a company like Shell, a conglomerate like that, leaving a country like Nigeria, who produces one of the top producers of oil in Africa, is Nigeria. To leave, that is significant. Others in the past have followed suit. Exxon, Mobil, many of other ones. They've all followed suit because they realize that their position in that country is the game's up. The time's up. They realize that. But the part that really upsets me is that they're leaving the country worse condition than they found it. They're leaving the country in a mess. And so Shell, part of the terms of that sell is that the new company, Renaissance, will have to deal and take care of all the environmental issues. So in other words, clean up their mess. So Renaissance is going to have to clean up the mess that Shell put in place, destroyed. They have to clean up their mess. That is what the West does. So I don't really, I blame them, but I also blame the corrupt leaders. The corrupt leaders that we've had that have allowed them to do these things because they paid their way, bribed their way to corrupt politicians and corrupt leaders who allow them to do these things in their own country. Those are the ones that really hold more responsible for this. Because there's no way a foreign company like Shell should have been allowed to come to Nigeria, do the type of business they're doing, and spill and cause the type of disaster and mess, and not allowed to now leave. Now, the deal is not final yet because the deal needs the signature and the approval of the Nigerian president to do this. Right? I think the Nigerian president needs to do the right thing and say, hey, you're going to need to take care of this. Do you understand that? You're going to need to account and take care of this mess that you left behind. You can't just leave. You can't just leave with this. I think the Nigerian government, the Nigerian president needs to do the right thing by making sure they hold them to task that you're going to have to clean this mess up. Because to allow them to just leave like that is a slap and an insult to the local people in Nigeria who have had to suffer at the hand of this horrible company called Shell. But nonetheless, I, for one, I'm happy that they're leaving. I, for one, I'm happy that a Nigerian-based company, Renaissance, an energy company, a conglomerate on its own, bought the company, which means what? It means economic growth for Nigeria. It means economic growth for Nigeria. Let me tell you something right now. Nigeria is making the type of moves that is going to set this country apart, if it hasn't already, from any other country in Africa and from many, and also compete with many countries, even in the West. Nigeria is making the type of move that is about to give it and make it an economic powerhouse. Dangote refinery. Let me tell you about Dangote's refinery. Dangote's refinery is a game changer. The moment they launched last year, this refinery has been up and running. It has been consistently getting crude oil from NNPC, with his Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, who owns about 20% stake in NNPC. They've been giving it crude oil. It has been meeting its goal of constant crude oil supply, so that way it can really produce the goal and targeted goal of 650,000 barrels of oil a day. Game changer. It's going to be producing things like gasoline, diesel, aviation, jet fuel, what was it? Kerosene, liquefied petroleum gas, polypropylene. These are things that they're going to be producing. Polypropylene is a raw material that produces. Let me help you with this so you know exactly how large this is. It's a raw material that produces containers, food containers, bottle caps, and plus they'll produce rubber, carpet, ropes, many other raw materials that are household products used in Nigeria, and they're going to export a lot of these products. So Nigeria is about to switch that game from being an import country to becoming an export country as a result of this refinery. Huge game changer. Huge game changer. Here are the stats. Dangote refinery is expected to have a significant impact on Nigeria's economy. It is estimated that the refinery will generate foreign exchange savings of about $25 billion to $30 billion annually for Nigeria. The refinery is also projected to create thousands of direct jobs, millions of indirect jobs, boosting Nigeria's economy rate overall. This is a huge thing. This is one of those things that the West doesn't like Africa to do. Because, the West likes us to be dependent on them. They like us to be dependent on them. They want us to always want the handout. They want us to come to their country so that they can insult us. They want us to keep leaving our countries. After destabilizing our countries, right, by robbing us of all our resources to fuel their countries, they want us to come to their countries and then insult us, right? That we're leaving our country even after they destabilized our country. This is the type of move that they don't like, because what this is doing and what this is going to do for Nigeria's economy, Nigeria, listen up. Because if you're not excited about what I've just said already, I don't know what will excite you. Because what I've just told you right now is going to set Nigeria on a trajectory that is going to decolonize Nigeria's economy. You are going to own your economy again. You are about to become a significant thing. Nigeria has been predicted by 2030 to be the only African country to hit a $1 trillion mark in its GDP growth. Nigeria. Nigeria also is making the type of moves now that is becoming a self-reliant energy. One of the key things, and I'm excited about the whole Dangote's oil, is that the oil is going to be traded in naira, not dollars. That is a huge thing. A lot of countries are getting away from the petrodollar. They're trying to, which is how BRICS this began initially, because the whole point of BRICS is to begin trading and get away from petrodollar, because the dollar, as you know, is the global foreign reserve currency. So everything is traded against the dollar. And one of the key things and one of the biggest upset for Nigeria's economy is that Nigeria, being the largest producer of oil in Africa, has been trading that whole thing in dollars, which is further devalued Nigeria's naira, and strengthened the dollar. So the dollar is always enjoyed, which is why the US dollar is strong, because it's the global foreign reserve currency. Everything is measured against it. It's one of those smart strategy that US put forth years ago. And so to have a country like Nigeria and its oil traded in the US dollar devalues the currency of the naira and increases the value of the dollar. So now to have Dangote's oil trade in naira, what do you think that's going to do to the naira? Just think about it for a second. I mean, you don't have to be an economist. What do you think that's going to do to the naira? It's going to increase the value of the naira. It's going to increase the purchasing power parity of the naira. It's going to increase the power of the naira, the purchasing power of the naira. The naira is about to enjoy an incredible amount of strength as a result of this move. This move, most people are not appreciating what this is about to do. This is what white people have seen. This is what they've seen, which is why Anthony Blinken, the U.S. Secretary of State, is in Nigeria. Why is he there? Why is he there? Why do you think he's there? He has been in Nigeria 2 times in the last 10 months. Twice. Why? Because they see Nigeria making the type of moves that is going to break Nigeria away from the stronghold that they've had it for all these years. Nigeria is about to be free economically. And then what that does for Nigerian citizens all over the world, what that means is now you have a country to be proud of. Whoo. Now you have a country to be proud of. Your passport is about to be celebrated. It's about to increase in terms of value. You're about to become a people on this planet that people are going to look at. There's no other. Let me help you understand this now so you can understand what I'm talking about here. There are no other groups on the planet, black groups on the planet, who are making the type of moves that Nigeria is making right now. Did you know that Nigeria manufactures its own cars? Did you know that? Nigeria has a car manufacturing company in Nigeria, manufactures its own car. It's called Innocent. Innocent is a car manufacturer in Nigeria. Nigeria manufactures its own cars. You don't have there's no other black people on the planet that can boast of the type of success, the types of things that Nigerians are doing. There are none. None. This is why you're getting the attack you're getting. This is why you're getting the attack you're getting. Because they will like you to focus on the negativity. They will like to beat you down and tell you your country is whack. Your country ain't doing nothing. Right? Your country is, they like to focus on that. Because this news that I'm telling you, you're not seeing it all over the media. What I've just told you in terms of Nigeria's car manufacturing industry in Nigeria, have you heard that in any Western media? No. Air Pece is not something that you're seeing all over the place. Air Pece is becoming a threat to the UAE, to a lot of Western countries. That's why. Do you remember that so-called ban that the UAE had, where they turned back 243 people in Nigeria for visa? You remember that? Where 243 visas were canceled. They allowed some to stay and it sent back 100 and something. But there were like 243 people that they were accusing in the UAE of having fraudulent visa. Such a false propaganda. Remember that? You know why they did that? You know why that happened? Because of Air Pece. Air Pece has been getting a lot of the business that a lot of the UAE flights, their airline, have been getting for years. So many people have been preferring to fly Air Pece, especially now that they're going international. That was a threat, and they knew that. And so they came up with a bogus thing. Because think about it for a second. Think about that story for a second. After the people got to the UAE, that's when they now discovered that their visas were fraudulent. Are you serious? You mean that when they submitted that information prior to getting on board the airline, you didn't see anything wrong with it? They approved this? Then they waited till they got there to create a public news about this nonsense. It's all a spite against Air Pece. They were trying to discredit that airline. I'm telling you, Air Pece is exciting to me because I can't wait for them to start flying to the US, because I think they are announcing flight to England. I am only going to take Air Pece when I'm going to Nigeria. Only going to take Air Pece. Because the disrespect, I told you guys before that I was done taking British Airways. Because the disrespect that you get with a lot of these airlines when we fly and we pay top dollars to get on these flights, and the disrespect they show us, they're about to lose most Nigerian customers. I, for one, I'm not. My whole entire family, when Air Pece, the moment they finally finalized the trip from London to Nigeria, I'm going to take the one here to London. They're going to get my money. My entire family, that's all we're going to fly, is Air Pece. I don't care if they don't have as fancy airline like British Airways and any other one. I don't care. It's ours. That's all I care about. I care that it's ours, it's Nigerian owned, and I know I'm going to be treated like a human being when I get on that flight. I know I'm going to be treated like a human being. That is a huge thing. That is something that you as a Nigerian can boast about. Because let me tell you, the black people here, they can't boast about this. The black people here can't boast about this. The ones that like to, the black Americans, the ones that like to make us feel less than. None of them. None of their millionaires or billionaires have a commercial airline. None of them. You name me one. None of them. With all the millions that their celebrities have made from music, from all of that, none of them own a commercial airlines. They all have private jets. Private jets serves the interest of an individual. Commercial airlines serves the interest of a country and a people. That's a different deal. Your people, Nigerians, your people own one. And they're about to have a flagship airline to represent the entire country. We used to have one. Remember Nigerian Airways? We're about to have another one. Doesn't matter if Ethiopia is mostly going to be producing that for it. Doesn't matter. We're about to have one. Your country owns one. People here cannot boast of that. No one black person here can boast of having a manufacturing car company. You have one. As a Nigerian, you have one. None of them can boast of it. And rather than have the people that have been attacking us in this country, rather than join a conglomerate like Nigeria to be part of a winning country, they're trying to attack us. They're the ones losing. Looking at them, they're the ones losing because every Nigerian is about to have a value boost. For one, I'm telling you, I'm excited about this because what this is saying in terms of where Nigeria is headed, what the projection they've given Nigeria. I mean, look at where we're winning. Just think about it for a second. This is what people have seen, which is why they would rather want to demonize Nigerians than give Nigerians kudos, because Nigerians are about to break away from the clutches. Nigeria right now is on its own in terms of an economic powerhouse on its own. There's no one country in Africa that rivals Nigeria. None. Not even South Africa. None. There's no one country. And that Nigeria now is projected by 2030, which is essentially 6 years from now, people, just in case you were wondering what that is, by 2030 to be the first African country, the only African country to hit a $1 trillion mark of GDP. And they're even saying that it's going to be more, it's going to top Netherlands. Nigeria will be above the Netherlands. These are moves that people are seeing. And they're realizing that this country is on the up and up. Nigerians mean business. Dangote is about to buy everything up. Here's what I'm excited about Dangote. Dangote, which is Africa's richest man. Dangote is about to do exactly what we've seen the West do in terms of all these companies that buy up everything. You know, like the Koch brothers who own everything in the United States, you know, like Disney, you know, those type of things. Dangote is about to buy everything. Everything is about to be made in Nigeria, owned by Nigerian. Nigeria is about to have its tentacles in everything. Dangote is about, you as a Nigerian, you're about to have your value blow off the roof, bro. Your value is about to blow off the roof. Don't let anyone lie to you. Don't let anyone lie to you. The haters that we're seeing in society today, that's exactly what they are. Haters. None of them can boast of what your people are doing. None of them. There's no one white person today. Let me help you understand this. There's no one white person today that has sense that will look at a Nigerian the way he looks like any other black person. No one white person. There's no one white person, because the white person, mostly what white people usually use to smear black people, which is known, especially in this country, is that black people don't own shit. Black people don't own shit. Nothing that is of economic driver. Black people don't own shit. Black people don't own banks in the United States. Black people don't own, they're not in charge of any electrical power grid. They don't own that. Telecommunication, none. They don't own the things that drive an economy. None. Which is why white folks always have oppressed black people in this country, because at the end of the day, they know that black people are always going to need them in this country. They know that. But when it comes to Nigerians, they know that that's a different thing. These things that I've told you that black people in this country don't own, Nigerians own it. Nigerians own their banks. Nigerians own their banks. The economy, Nigerians own it. Nigerians own their telecommunications. 98% of all the businesses in Nigeria are owned by Nigerians. Nigerians own their aviation industry. Nigerians own their car. Apparently now Nigerians are manufacturing cars. What do you think that's gonna happen in the future? That's gonna develop much more than that. Nigerians own that. Nigerians own the textile industry. Nigerians own this. On top of the fact, Nigerians own their own currency. Which black person here, the ones that like to stoke division and like to make us feel less than, none of them can boast that their face is on their currency. None of them. The ones that like to go around and talk about my bones is in this country. None of them. When you look at the currency of their money, none of them have a representation on that money. When you look at it, it's a white person that's in that money. That's exactly how your bones is in the country. Yeah, I get it. But none of them. Because this country has made sure that when it comes to our brothers and sisters in this country, they don't own anything. But you, as a Nigerian, you own your face. When I look at the Naira, no matter how, don't worry about the value. Don't worry about that. Your face, your representation is on your currency. Just think about the power of that for a second. When you look at the Naira, you see someone that looks like you. Most of the African countries boast of this. Most of them. That you can look at your own currency and your face, my face, is on the currency. That's a huge power. This is what white people know. When it comes to Nigerians, they know they can't talk to Nigerians about Nigerians the way they talk about these other people. They can't. Because they know that most average Nigerians here, they own shit. Right? Which is why there's all this coordinated attack to make you feel less than. But I'm here. I'm here to make you feel like the value that you are. You need to celebrate a lot. Because let me tell you, on top of the fact that you own your economy, your justice system, you own your own justice system in your country. Your justice system is there to protect, to look out for you, and to fight for your interests. However, how you might call it, it's not perfect. No justice system is. But you have one that is for you, by you, to fight for your interest. The justice system here, we can't say the same thing. No Nigerian can go to Nigeria and be arrested in Nigeria for the color of their skin. None. Because the policemen and women in Nigeria look like me. No Nigerian will ever and have ever been arrested because of the color of their skin. None. But our brothers and sisters here get that. We, who are also here living it, we get pulled over due to the color of our skin. And that's why I can't for the life of me understand why any of the black people here will use that to spite their African brothers and sisters. That to me is a type of delusion that I don't understand. That you're fighting a people who on this planet have equity that you can boast of. You can be connected to a people who you can actually boast that we own XYZ. But no, you'd rather be at the heels of white people begging for scraps. Because no matter what, they made it clear for years. This country has been around for over 300 years. They don't care for black people. And black people will never have the type of equity that they're fighting for in this country. And rather than partner with us, who are doing things, They're fighting us. Okay. That's that fool's errand. But for the rest of us who understand our equity, let me tell you what's about to happen in the next few years. Let me tell you what's about to happen in the next few years as Nigeria is rising. There's about to be a mass, and I've said it before in my videos, there's about to be a mass exodus of a lot of us, if not most of us, from this country back to our country. So Nigeria is only 63 years old. And in 63 years old, this country has done phenomenally well. I am amazed. I remember when I was a little boy, I'm 46 years old, I just turned 46 this month on the 11th of January. I remember when I was like in my teens and I was in Nigeria. The Nigeria back then is not the Nigeria today. Most of you, if you want to be honest with yourself, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The growth that country has had since I was a teenager to when I go back there and visit, the amount of growth that that country has had in 20-something years is what it amazes me. Amazes me. Yeah, I know that there are a few of us that like to focus on negative and talk about, Nigeria. None of you, if you want to be honest with yourself, can tell me today that where Nigeria is today is worse than where it was in the past. You can't tell me that. You cannot tell me that. You can't. Not with a GDP that's been rising year over year. Nigeria's GDP has not been going downwards. It's been going up. Nigeria has been lifting people out of poverty. It needs more work. It needs more work. But the poverty has been shrinking in that country. And one of these days, I'm going to bring that data to you guys, and I'm going to show you guys that, and I'm going to have that video. Because the country's GDP has been rising. So what do you think is happening to the poverty rate in Nigeria? Of course, it's only common sense, economic 101. When you have a country whose GDP is growing, it's only natural for the poverty rate to be shrinking. Now, of course, we need it to even shrink more than what it is right now. So there's a lot of work to be done in that part. But it will get there. Because this country at 63 is doing much more than where this country, where Nigeria is at 63, right? Outperforms where US was at 63 years old. I mean, for those of you that like to compare the United States, Nigeria to the United States, some silly thing like that. Those of you that like to be like, look at where US is, look at how advanced they are, and you forget that this country has been around for over 300 years. This country was built on the backs of slave laborers. Not to mention the abuse and the corruption that this country had over the years. Not to mention also the humanitarian crisis that this country had over the years. The wars that this country fought. Destabilizing countries, blood on their hands. Sure. No, Nigeria hasn't had none of that. This country at 63 years old was enslaving people. It had corruption of epic proportion that you couldn't even imagine. Nigeria doesn't have that at 63 years old. So the way you want to compare that is compare Nigeria today to where this country was 63 years old. And then you can find your answer on that part. You can't compare a 63-year-old country to a 300-plus country. So Nigerians all over the world are about to enjoy a major respect. Major respect. And you deserve it. Anyway, thank you all for joining me today. Please subscribe to this channel, share this video, like the video, and I'll see you all next time.
Sätter du rör på det får mig att dö för det baby. För de här yardis, de vill ju bara dra ner oss. Men du är fett och vanlig. På det jag lägger all min tid och jag vill ha dig. Du får mig känna safety. Jag kan nog leda baby. Och jag kommer aldrig ändra mig.